Can y'all hear me?
So, yeah, we can hear you now, Kelly.
I don't know why my laptop, I couldn't hear y'all. I could see y'all talking. Could y'all hear me talking?
Yes. Yeah.
No. Oh, so was I cussing? Because I was frustrated.
No, you weren't. Okay, so let's get started. So everybody should have, if you have a waffle maker, turn that guy on so it can get heated up. And we're gonna start with waffles first. And then while we're making our waffles or pancakes, so get your skillet out if you're doing the pancake version. And while we're doing that, we will then be cutting up the veggies and fruits as the pancakes and waffles. I can't talk. I was gonna say wallets. Waffles are cooking. And so I'm gonna go ahead and mute you guys. And then as you have questions, just feel free to jump in and unmute yourself. So, you know, if you have any questions, just come back in. And then also, if you have frozen spinach, it should be thawed when we put it in the turkey. So you might just want to get a little out, let it sit on the counter while we're getting the waffles ready. So I'm going to put the waffle recipe up here. Okay, so this is the whole wheat waffle recipe. There was also a cashew oat recipe that I included. So if you're gluten-free, you may want to use that one. Now it's too quiet. I feel like I need some of you guys to unmute and chat with me. Well,
I was just gonna say, don't you usually have music going in the background? I feel like
I do, but maybe I turned it down too much. I can turn it back up. It's still going.
Oh, I feel like I usually can hear it just a little bit. It's not like I can hear it and understand everything, but
right. And let's talk a little bit really quick too about the serving size of this recipe. So this is doing 12 waffles at 3/4 cup servings as you're pouring it into the waffle maker or your pancake. So 3/4 cup is a yellow and a half. So I'm planning to make it at a 1/2 cup size so that it's one yellow even. And then it's easier for me for breakfast to be tracking. Or if you're making pancakes, you can also do 2/4 cup pancakes for a yellow. Okay, so I would go with whatever size works for you normally. Then you're not throwing yourself off if you're not used to having a yellow and a half in the morning. Just make, a couple small pancakes or, a 1/2 cup size. Ooh, my waffle maker's ready. And if you guys like cinnamon or other spices in there, cardamom, cinnamon, nutmeg, this would be really good in the waffle too, as you're making it, as you add in your dry ingredients. You can just throw in some cinnamon. All right, how's everybody doing? It's too quiet. How many people are doing waffle makers, or is everybody doing pancakes?
I'm doing waffles.
Oh, okay,
I'm doing
pancakes.
pancakes. I don't have a waffle maker.
Okay. Well, and what's nice is you can make them smaller then too. So if you want it, you know what I mean? So if you like having a stack of two, I personally love to do peanut butter and jelly pancakes. So I will put like a teaspoon of peanut butter on a bottom pancake and then put my homemade jam on a top pancake. And then I have my peanut butter jelly cakes.
That sounds good.
It's yummy.
I don't think I've ever used flax seeds. So what is that really?
Well, it's adding in some
Or-
omega-3s and some healthy fats. And I agree, I don't use it very often. Autumn does put it in quite a few things just because it can add some nutritional value. And fiber. It's great in fiber too.
Okay.
Often it can be added as a replacement for eggs too.
Oh,
If you ever look for flax eggs, like flax eggs recipes, it's literally just ground flax seed and water.
wow.
Yeah,
I
I've
didn't know that, yeah.
Yeah, it replaces an egg. So if it
That's
works,
interesting because it's like a nutty flavor.
right.
I put it in my kids like oatmeal and stuff too, because then they don't even, I mean, you don't taste it. And they
Right.
get all that extra goodness.
Okay, I'm gonna throw in a little cinnamon in mine.
I had to make sure when I went to Whole Foods earlier that I got baking powder and not baking soda.
Right.
They're next to each other, obviously.
Well, and it's funny because I have Bob's Red Mill baking powder, and the corn starch in Bob's Red Mill too looks exactly the same coloring, exactly the same. And so I have to make sure I read it every time to get the right one. Don't need any cornstarch in here.
Yeah.
It's not going to help me.
That's funny because in almost every single recipe that ever calls for baking soda or baking powder, I double, triple, quadruple check that I'm doing the right one because it's like, this could make this recipe go awful wrong if I get this wrong.
It's right.
It definitely messes it up completely.
I feel like you're saying that out of experience, Lily.
Yeah, maybe.
I definitely am.
And the same thing with a tablespoon and teaspoon. I've screwed that up multiple times.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna spray my waffle maker with the coconut oil. I think we talked about last time. I'd get the Trader Joe's like coconut oil spray. There's tons of different brands out there that, you know, they're pretty much everywhere now. But so I'm just gonna spray that down. Or if I was doing the pancakes, I'd just give my pan a quick spray. Make sure your pan is nice and hot, even for the pancakes before you put your batter in.
So if you're doing pancakes, how hot do you think that the griddle should be?
You know, I would just say at like a full medium that's been heated for a while, but maybe even between medium, high, depending on how hard, you know, how heavy your, sorry, not heavy, how hot your burner's running. We have gas, and like one burner, medium would be totally fine. Another burner, it's smaller. I'd have to go probably toward medium high.
Okay, I've just got the griddler, the Cuisinart griddler.
Yeah, I would just say as long as it's heated, you know what I mean? If it's starting to heat, then it's going to be a little cool. My first pancakes are always like, I call them albino pancakes because they never quite brown up right because it's like it's not hot enough to start.
Well, I had one preheating and the other not, so it'll probably all be albinos for me.
That's right. They still taste good. And then when you reheat them, like you could freeze those, right? Because then when you reheat them in the toaster, they'll brown up a little bit more.
There you go. I like it.
And that's how I reheat. Like, so I will lay these out on a rack as they're cooling so that there's not moisture gathering underneath them. So just like your, you know, your normal cookie rack, something like this. Let them totally cool. And then I just throw them in a Ziploc in the freezer and then pull out what I want. And if it fits in the toaster, that's a great way to do it. It doesn't always, it keeps it crunchy on the outside, but it doesn't necessarily keep it warm all the way through. So sometimes I throw it in the microwave and a combination of toaster. Ooh, first waffle's ready. All right, that one's a little bit light. And I always use chopsticks too to get them out of the waffle maker. Yeah, I need to spray this one a little bit more. This one's having a little hard time. So this is about how big a half cup was. So that's going to be one yellow. So it didn't quite fill out the entire waffle maker. So totally up to you, whatever sizing you want to do. If you want 2 yellows, do a full cup in your waffle maker. It should be able to fit it, depending on what size you have.
I like fat pancakes. One big fat pancake is what I want.
Perfect. So, and as you're putting waffles on or putting pancakes on, you can start pulling out a cutting board. We'll start with, if you have any fruits and vegetables you want to chop for yourself for the week, let's start on those. So I think I mentioned in the email out or the posts in the group that like you could do some berries on top of this, have it with a yogurt, be a great well-rounded breakfast to balance things out. All right, that one turned out better. So I had to turn my waffle maker up a little bit. It was on a 4. I put it closer to a 5, and then it got a little crunchier on the outside.
I did not have sunflower oil. Did you use a different oil?
So I just used, let me see here. I would use a different oil. Yes, you can use, was that just?
I have coconut and I have avocado and I have olive and then like the crab kind.
I do olive.
Yeah.
Just because it's going to blend in a little better. Coconut, you'll have to melt and then put it in.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's open.
Okay, so as things are cooking, we'll get out, let's see, we're gonna need some onions chopped up for the next one. We'll need some cucumber if you're adding cucumber to your tzatziki. So we can just kind of start getting out some of the produce in between waffles and pancakes. everybody's pancakes going?
Mine are going good.
Good.
I am just battered up and finally going to put it on the griddle, so I'm a little slow.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
Getting
I'm
there.
still mixing.
Oh, good. I'm not the only.
No, I'm like, I don't have a lot of energy here, so I'm just like winging this. So hopefully it tastes good. I was in a hot yoga room earlier, so I'm just trying to measure
Yeah.
right. And what was the substitution again for the sunflower oil?
Oh, sorry. You can just use any, if you have like olive oil or avocado or whatever oil you have, it'd be fine.
I have olive oil, so I'll use that. That's fine.
It won't, with that amount, it won't change the flavor very much.
Okay.
It's just adding a little fat in.
Which recipe are we going to move on to next?
We are going to go to the turkey burger recipe. We're going to do tzatziki first, and then we'll get into our meat products to finish out. Yes. So we'll want to do the veggie chopping from both burgers and curry, which I think is pretty much an onion and some garlic.
Yeah. Okay. So you had said that you were going to use zucchini as your binder in place of, instead of eggs and breadcrumbs, right?
Right.
How much? So first of all, how much are you subbing for the recipe?
So I normally do a medium zucchini grated and then squeeze it. So it ends up being, somewhere between a half a cup and a cup.
Okay.
Once it's squeezed, and squeeze it good. And then I put that in with, there's like 1.5 pounds in there, and that'll be great.
Okay. Well, because I am cutting it down to just 1 pound, because first I didn't pay attention to the fact that it said 1.5 pounds. But then it worked out because 6 burgers leaves us with 2 random burgers. So I'm like, yeah, it was meant to be.
It was meant to be. So maybe I wouldn't do a whole one then. Maybe a half a zucchini.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so while you guys are getting your pancakes on and finishing them up, let's talk about the next one real quick. So I'm actually gonna make turkey meatballs, and I'm gonna throw them in the oven. The other options for this, if you keep them burgers, you can throw them on the grill. They're really good on there, and they should stay together well enough. Or you can just throw them in a pan and cook the burgers. So we're gonna chop up all of our vegetables for the next 2 dishes, including the tzatziki sauce. And we're going to combine our turkey meat, but then we're going to switch over to the curry, and we can do those turkey burgers or meatballs however you'd like to do them last. So it's really up to you. The tzatziki is really delicious with this combination. So I highly recommend sticking to it if you haven't had it before, or adding it. I mean, making sure you make it if you haven't had it before, because it's really yummy. And then pairings for this. So obviously we're just making the protein. Tzatziki is going to have a little bit of vegetable in it because and this is optional if you want to add cucumber in. Cucumber in it is delicious. But you are getting pretty much a protein. So depending on when you're eating this, if you have a veggie option available, just have some side veggies sauteed would be great. You could serve it over a cauliflower rice, over some kind of zoodle noodle, something like that. Have the tzatziki on top. You could pair it with a grain. So if you're having it at lunchtime or you have a yellow leftover, you know, farro, freekeh, quinoa, a whole grain couscous, all those things would be really great with it. Or if you have a flatbread, you can wrap it up like a gyro and throw in some extra cucumbers and veggies on there, and you're all set. Oh no. Okay, well here's what happens when you don't spray it. My waffle is now totally stuck to everything. I think I forgot to spray the last one. Okay, here's my disaster waffle. It opened up in the middle. We'll just stuff that with some peanut butter and jam. Call it good.
That's the taste tester. I did that for one of my pancakes. I was like, oh crap, I didn't spray it, so it's like this big. And I'm like, I'll just eat that one.
We'll just make sure it's good. That's what quality control is all
The
about.
quality control, I like it.
All right, is everyone done with the pancake recipe itself, even if you're not done cooking with the recipe?
Yeah.
We're good? Okay, yell out if you're not. I can only see a few of you in my window. Okay. So I'm gonna put it on the Mediterranean turkey burger. I can't talk. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make that tzatziki, and we'll also cut up any of the other things going into the turkey burger itself. So I'm gonna push this down here a little bit so we can see the full instructions. And like I said, it's not on the recipe, but I mentioned it about the cucumber. It's the cucumber it has in the recipe is just to serve it on the burger. But I'm gonna throw cucumber in the tzatziki because that's the way I normally make it. And it's a nice little crunch within the sauce. So I did close to a cup for the cucumber piece. Again, that's personal preference. Everybody must be tired. We're usually more chatty than this. So I'm also going to use fresh dill instead of dried dill, and that's just, they're both great. We were going to the store and I like fresh dill in it. So okay, so if you're chopping your red onion too, and you're not crazy about the red onion, how strong it can be, you can dice it, put it in cold water and let it sit for just a second and then drain it, and it will take out some of that bite.
These pancakes are pretty good.
Great.
I was concerned.
You were worried about it? My oldest just got up, so he's having he's going to try the waffle now.
No, they're good.
Perfect. He did ask if there's anything weird in it, so.
Ha, that was what my husband just asked. But everybody likes them here.
Perfect.
No, those are really good. I'm surprised. I think they might be Dave approved too. Maybe.
Ooh, right.
I know. He's not here to try them, but we'll see.
My hubby's pretty particular, Kelly, and he likes them.
Say that again?
I said my hubby is pretty particular and he likes them.
Okay. Well, then if he likes them, Dave will like them then.
So I had a blogger that I follow. She actually uses she uses a pan and bakes her pancakes in like on a jelly roll style pan,
Oh,
and then
interesting.
just cuts them into squares so that she doesn't have to like stand over, a griddle doing, making the pancakes or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. Feel like I asked her how long she would bake it, and she bakes them usually around like 15 minutes, but she said it like at 350. But of course it would just depend on, you kind of have to trial by whatever air. You'd have to go with it and see what worked for whatever mix you're using and your oven. So
That's really smart though, because with 7 kids, pancakes takes a hot minute.
Yeah.
yeah, but instead you're not over the stove the entire time or a
Exactly.
griddle. It's just you set a timer. And I was just talking to Scott about that this morning. I'm like, maybe we should think about trying it, because we will make, he actually helped. He's the one that has really taken over pancake making and made it his own. So but we make them and freeze them for the boys. So
Will the batter last in the fridge like a day or anything? If I didn't want to make them all?
It
Don't
will.
know?
I don't know.
Yes,
though
it
if
definitely will.
It will.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it loses some of its fluff power with the baking powder. If it will, if that changes it, if it sits.
Okay.
But it-
Lily, you've done it before? Was it
Yes,
Lily that?
I have. Yes,
Okay.
I have, and it works. It works fine, but I like mine super fluffy, I guess.
Yeah.
So I usually put a little bit less water in it.
Okay.
so we just bake ours, or we make ours and then we just freeze them. We put them in like in a gallon Ziploc, and we'll put 4 in a gallon Ziploc. Once they've cooled, we cool them on a cookie sheet, and then we put them in a gallon Ziploc bag. So, and then put seal them, and they work great. They keep wonderfully.
So Bev and I were talking earlier about the zucchini grating. So this is going to be part, like if you don't want to do egg and breadcrumbs, I don't do very much egg, so I avoid it. And so the thing I've done in my meatballs or in burgers is I shred up a zucchini. So I've just used the grater, shredded it up, and I'm going to take a paper towel. I'm going to put the zucchini in it and squeeze it like there's no tomorrow and get all the juice out. And then I will put that in with the turkey meat and mix it in with it. So that retains moisture then in the meatball or in the burger, so that, it's not dried out, especially if you don't have very much fat in the meat. So it's an option for another time if that's something, but if you're fine with eggs too, then this is great too. So it's just an alternative depending on where you're at. And make sure you have strong paper towels, because otherwise you end up with paper towel shreds. Or you could use a cheesecloth if you have that. I probably should use that, but I don't ever think about it.
Hey, Deanna,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit slower than everybody. So the Greek yogurt and the lemon juice and the garlic and dill, do you put cucumber bits in that?
Yeah, so that's where I like to put a little extra cucumber. It makes it a little bit, it's not quite as thick, but it's also just gives a really nice crunch in it and a little coolness
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
I think I will do that too.
And on this turkey burger recipe, it called for a sliced cook beet and sliced cucumber. And those were just for serving purposes. So that's why I put them optional on the shopping list.
And Deanna, just out of curiosity, I had shared with Christina because she was like, well, how do you cook the beet? And I'm like, I usually roast my beet. How do you go about?
Yeah,
How would you go about it?
I like my beets roasted too, but I don't do them whole ever. I just do them diced and roasted. You can buy them already cooked. Like if you, I've found they're just, I don't know, the flavor isn't, I like it best roasted with a little salt and pepper and olive oil. And then we do like a mix, we'll do golden beets and
Yes.
red beets and the candy cane beets.
See, I don't get those. All I can, well, because I don't get those is like we don't have those near us. As varietized as we get is golden, and I do love those. They do have a different flavor.
Yeah, I find them they're a little bit sweeter.
Yeah.
And less earthy.
Yes, exactly. They are. They are.
And if you can get the candy cane, those are also the same way.
I'm gonna have to be looking for those now. Thanks.
They're not
Golden beets are
you're not
delicious.
out all that often, but
Yes, I do. I love the golden beets. Yeah, we like to do the roasted root medley that's in the Ultimate Reset. That was what my 23-year-old requested for his birthday this year, was the roasted root medley.
nice.
Yeah. So he wanted, what did he want? Chicken wings, roasted root medley. Oh, and risotto. So
Fun combo to make, huh?
yeah, it wasn't bad. It really wasn't. I've spent a lot more time in the kitchen on birthday dinners than that one. A
Yeah.
lot more.
I am just gonna flip over really quick to the chickpea curry to see how much we're chopping over there. So 1 medium onion chopped over there. That's just a regular onion. I always do sweet onions. And then 3 cloves of garlic over there. So if you're already chopping your garlic, add 3 more cloves in for the curry. Well, how was it? Good. Okay, the waffle was 16-year-old approved. All right, so let's see here. We'll get some garlic into our tzatziki. And then some garlic into our meatballs. And then I'll save some for the curry. And this tzatziki will stay good for a while in your refrigerator, as long as the yogurt holds up. Okay, so then before we add in any meat, so we'll have tzatziki made. We'll have onion chopped for the turkey. We'll have onion chopped for the chicken. We'll chop sun-dried tomatoes and spinach and garlic for both dishes. I just realized too, I'm gonna squeeze my spinach because it's a little wet. And if you put wet ingredients like that in there, then it just makes your meat a little more wet so that it doesn't hold together quite as well. So this meatball recipe too is one of those recipes where you can really change it up a lot. You know, add different cheeses, different vegetables. We've done it with like those little sweet peppers, put some of that in there, try a different cheese, go with Mexican spices. You can really kind of switch things up and make it a whole different burger or different meatball with these little add-ins. In fact, I was searching for something on Pinterest the other day, and there was a like a infographic that showed how to switch up your meatballs. And so it would just say all these like suggestions for different things you could put into it. So, and we're really just getting these turkey burgers all formulated, all the vegetables that go into them, all the add-ins. So you can throw your cheese in that bowl now before we get to the meat. So I'm just putting together all the things that go with the meat, and then I'm going to throw that meat in last.
You can say hi.
Hey, how are you?
She said
I-
she wants to say hi to Beverly.
I love your headband, sweetie.
She's just devoured one of those pancakes too.
Oh, really? You like the pancakes, huh?
She loved it. Did you love it?
Aw, well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Maybe next weekend you can help mommy make them. It can be something you guys do together. Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be fun. Sit down and finish eating that. Probably hard to eat like that. You want to say bye?
Bye.
Bye.
You can change that, John. You can change that.
All right, how's everybody doing with their chopping? We getting close to adding meat? Okay, Bev, you ready? I think I've just got one onion left for the curry here.
We're not chopping the chicken, right? That's supposed to be chopped, right?
I honestly chopped most this morning because I have a newborn and a 2-year-old running around.
Well, that's good.
And I'm
You're
nursing.
prepared. I
Yeah.
love it.
And
You
now
gotta-
the newborn, so I'm grateful.
Yeah, you got to do it when you can, for sure. Okay, and if you are through chopping everything, so I would mix up your pre-meat mix here to make sure it's pretty well mixed in, because once you add the meat, you don't want to over mix it. So if the ingredients prior to adding the meat are all mixed up, then they're going to get evenly distributed a little bit better. You know, so your kids don't get the one meatball or the one burger with all the spinach. And I will admit it, I like to cheat on recipes a little bit. So I'm actually adding in 1 part turkey, 1 part ground pork, because I really like the flavor of ground pork. And then mixing it with the turkey, I get a little more lean meat, but I still get the flavor of the pork. So I'm putting in a little extra meat on this because I know we go through 2 pounds pretty easy, especially in meatball form.
So Deanna, the recipe calls for like 1.5 pounds of ground turkey, and my ground turkey comes in 1.3 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
So I bought the sweet Italian lean turkey sausages, and I'm putting 1 in.
Okay, there you go.
To kind of add it up and fat it up a little bit.
Right. Yep. That'll make it taste good too.
Hope so.
Well, right now, this actually just looks like a really delicious salad. So after you mix in your meat for your burgers, we're just gonna let it sit because we're gonna do that one at the end in case you want to use your grill. And then what you'll do, mix it all in. You can throw it either in the refrigerator if you're gonna do it right away after we're done with the chicken curry, then you can just leave it out. Man, these smell really good. This is the first time, I always made up my own Mediterranean burger. This is the first time I'm using this recipe. Okay, so I'm gonna let that sit. And then we can get out a big skillet to start with the curry. So hopefully all your veggies are cut before you start with the meat. I like to just get all the veggies out of the way, and then I can just use the same cutting board for meats too. And you're not washing dishes all the time. So. Since we're putting a can of tomatoes into, you'll want something with a little bit of depth for the chicken. Okay, are we ready to switch over to the curry recipe? Yell out if you're not ready. Okay. So we're just gonna slice up the chicken. They said to buy chicken tenders. I just put chicken breasts. You pay like 3 times more for chicken tenders some days in the grocery store. It's just chicken breasts. And so just slice them up to whatever size you want. We're gonna brown those up first. So again, you might wanna turn on your pan even before you start cutting the chicken so your pan's nice and hot. And that at least that first side gets a nice caramelization to it. Make sure you throw a little salt and pepper on your chicken. So I'm probably gonna do 2 batches here, just to get the chicken a little color. And it's not necessarily that it has to be cooked all the way through at this point. You're really just getting a little caramelization on the outside. So then when we put it all back in, it still has another 10 to 15 minutes to cook. So it'll finish out then. Oops, sorry. Okay, so then we'll need to get can of chickpeas out. You'll want to rinse those while your chicken is cooking.
Most of the walk was most of the time walking because nobody got a walker past. Neither me or Cooper walkers have more out. So. Just a little bit. That's everything there is, right? Can't put it exactly the same.
You know, your plate, big plate.
And
he's all milky, and I've also already seen him. I haven't seen his face, but on FaceTime. And he,
Okay, I just put my last bit of chicken in. Get that browned up. And then so you would have your chickpeas rinsed. You've already got your garlic and onion chopped, so they're just sitting on the side here. It's a good time to go find your spices. So it's funny, the other day we ran out of cumin, and then our grocery store was out of cumin. So I ordered some from Amazon, and I've ordered this brand a ton before. And it was weird because it's like I made this beef and it ended up being really gritty. And I think it was some filler in the cumin. So it was a little scary. So make sure you know, sometimes your spices, depending on how good a quality they are, sometimes they can have a little filler added to them, and you definitely need to make sure you're buying quality spices. So last night we went down to where we normally get them and just got a little baggie. We always just buy them in bulk, so we can get, you know, a couple tablespoons at a time, depending on how much we're using. You'll want your diced tomatoes and your chicken broth. All right, once your chicken's all ready, you can throw in the onions. I like to do the onions before I put the garlic in because I like to caramelize the onions just a little bit more. And sometimes if you get the onion or the garlic on a little higher heat, you're gonna get a little bitterness. So I let the onions get in there and do their thing first. So, and this also has you putting in some of the spices with the onion and garlic. That's really going to get them to get fragrant and get that mustard seed ready for things. So make sure you're doing the cumin and the mustard seed in with the onion. And then the other half of the cumin, turmeric, coriander, chili powder goes in when we add the rest of the sauces. We can talk a little bit about this meal too. So this is a really well balanced one, right? You've got a green, a yellow, a red, or a protein, a carb, and a vegetable in it. So it would be a great snack. It's a great lunch. And if you want to have a little more veg with it, you have an extra green on your plan, then you could put it over cauliflower rice, or I suppose any kind of sauteed veggie combo you want to do. It'd be good on maybe some asparagus and maybe a side of broccoli. All right, so I just added everything in. We'll get it up to a boil and then turn it down to medium low.
I don't see how y'all can make like 3 different meals at once. I'm still, well, I only have a pan, so, but my pancakes look pretty, they're stacking up.
Well, that's good. You know, it takes this is definitely a learned skill, right? Because it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I think that's what's a little hard for this. I think through these recipes tons of times before we even come on this call and think about how I would do it myself in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can, you know, I mean, this is practicing those skills, right?
Yeah.
Like getting through all your veggies before you get to any meats, because you know you have to wash your hands a ton when you get to the meats and your cutting boards and things like that, and you can't cross-contaminate. So it's trying to figure out how to use different pieces too, like using a crock pot with something that's baked, with something that's on the stove. So that you can kind of have things going at the same time. But anytime you're in a new recipe, I have to read it over a few times to be like, oh, okay, I got it now, before I kind of dive into it, because otherwise I'll miss something on the recipe, or, you know, I missed the oil on the waffles. So, you know.
I actually forgot to buy the spinach, so I just used kale. Hopefully that works.
Fine. Yeah. Or if you missed it, it was 2 ounces. It's really just, it's a little more for show than anything else. You know what I mean? I mean, you get a little bit of vegetable in it, but it's not a critical piece. And that's what's great, right? If you have something or don't have something, you can add in, not add it in, just kind of make it your own and work through it all.
Yeah, and I actually have not started the last thing yet because I literally just finished the burgers. So.
Yeah, no worries. And so I'm actually going to come back to the burgers now while my curry is cooking, which it is so pretty. I love turmeric. It makes everything look beautiful.
I have to start this one, so I got to start that.
And so what I'm going to do, now, if you want to have like your turkey burgers later, because, you know, we're all in different time zones, you could put them into patties, just throw some saran wrap on them and throw them in the refrigerator. I'm going to make mine into meatballs. And so I'll just meatball them up and then throw them in the oven. And then they're ready. Yeah, perfect. See, Marcy, you're already ahead of me. I haven't even done that yet.
I got to a point, Deanna, where I was like, okay, she's way ahead of me. I'm just going to finish these damn things and then move on when I'm ready. So that's why I didn't even know you didn't get here. So, and the other thing was, sun-dried tomatoes. Like I couldn't find them at my store, but we had paste. So I just added a couple tablespoons of that.
Perfect. Yeah.
So it's a little red, but whatever.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's going to taste delicious. Yep. It'll all be good.
Now it's time to curry up.
Yeah, and this one comes together pretty fast. So this would be a great weeknight meal. And especially if you had chicken, that like leftover chicken from another meal, this would be perfect, right? Because then you just start right at the onion step, throw your spices in, onion, garlic, and then let it cook down for a little bit. Throw that chicken in at the end to warm up, and you'll be good to go. It'd be a really fast meal.
So you mentioned, I completely forgot about the mustard seed, and I swear to you, I see it in my head in my pantry, but it's not in there. No idea where my mustard seed is.
I know we didn't.
Yes, it didn't happen.
We had to look for it last night and we didn't have it either, so we had to go get some.
I'm like, I can see it. Like I see the words, I see the label, but I'm like, I'm looking everywhere for this mustard seed. It's not here. My husband's gonna come home and he's gonna be like, it's right here, honey.
Right?
No, it's not.
If you happen to get another recipe for mustard seed, I have a ginormous one now. So by all means, share away.
Well, that's a good time to just go on Pinterest and put in mustard seed, and then you'll find all the things. You could probably make your own mustard.
I might try this.
Have it on your sandwiches. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, so what we like to do is we will, when we're making a burger recipe, we make more than just like one round because it's just so much work. So we'll make multiple batches, and we actually have like a patty maker, like, you know, the Tupperware old school patty makers. Yeah. And we, so we put like a piece of parchment, or really not parchment. Well, no, it is parchment. It's not wax paper. We use parchment, and we set each patty onto a piece of parchment, stick them in the freezer on a cookie sheet, and then we, you know, package them up in like packages of 4, since there's 4 of us.
That's perfect.
So that we can just pull them out and grill them. Actually, they turn out easier. Like if you grill them when they're fresh, they fall apart easier.
Right.
Ground
Yep.
turkey
Right.
does. So, but when you do it frozen, way better. And homemade grilled turkey burgers are way better than the pre-made ones. The pre-made ones, I'm sorry, I've not found one that actually tastes like anything other than like nothing. Like whatever you're putting on top of that burger, that's the only flavor you're getting from it. So
Exactly.
That's very helpful, actually. And I have a really good turkey burger recipe that I'll share with you in the group. But
Oh, good.
the fact that there's 6 burgers and there's 4 of us in this household, I'm kind of like, oh, it's perfect for when the kids are eating at school, and I'll just have 2 for me and my husband. So thank you for that tip too.
And so I bought a meatballer because I got tired of I like them to be uniform. So I'm just going to go through and meatball them out, and we can figure. So if there's 6 burgers in there, depending on how many meatballs I get, I'll just divide it by 6 and know the serving size.
I think since we were talking about tortillas the other day, I think we should learn how to make tortillas. I'm kidding.
Oh, I do have a tortilla prep.
Oh, what was that, Lily? What was that recipe that, what is her name? Simona?
Simona,
Posted-
yeah.
That looked like a tortilla, but it wasn't.
Yes, it's like a chapati. The same thing. It's
Okay.
like a tortilla chapati. Yeah.
Yeah. That looked really good. I
Yes,
assume
they are
that's,
good.
I don't know, a yellow. How many yellows would that be? 1, 2, 1 yellow. Oh.
Well, 1 tortilla, 1 yellow.
Yeah, one yellow.
All right. So how is everybody else doing? Are we at a place where you're going back to a turkey burger, or are you in the middle of your curry?
Curry's going, turkey burger almost done.
Awesome.
Waffles, all my family's trickling in and eating.
Perfect.
So we're good.
The win right there.
Yeah.
Hello. I love it. So at this point, we've pretty much finished everything other than however you're going to make your turkey burger. So if there's any questions about any of it, or if anyone wants to stay on longer to see the recipes. Otherwise, I'll probably just stop our recording, and you're welcome to stay on if you want to stay on, but I'll just sit here and meatball stuff, but maybe I'll stop the recording because we're pretty much to the end of the instruction piece.
Yeah.
I made it up to the turkey burgers and I have to get going, but I'm gonna make the last recipe like later tonight when I get home
Awesome.
because I'm just really slow, I guess.
It's not that at all. We
And I
have
have-
a lot of moving parts in this one. And the last few times we've picked like a slow cooker plus something, and it's like we had a little more downtime to catch up. This one, just we had a lot of moving pieces. So don't feel like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't.
But
all
I did my pancakes, those are all done, and I got my turkey burgers, or actually made the meatballs like you were suggesting, and so I've got those all done and the sauce. So basically, I just have to do the third recipe, which I'll do later on.
That's
Perfect.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just
So, but-
actually
So much,
just
yeah, this was great. I'm actually gonna keep going and do my chicken recipe now, so I may be texting. Hey, what'd you do for this? How'd you fix that? Because I totally missed your presentation. But everything else was awesome, so I'm just slow
Good.
too.
I'm glad. And
yeah,
it'll be recorded if you need to go back through and see things. I'll put it out in the group in a little bit.
Awesome.
But thank you for everything.
Oh, my pleasure. This helps
This
me
is-
too, right? Now I'm set for the week.
Yeah, you're really all your tips and everything are really helpful to me. So I really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm glad. Thank you.
All right. Good luck, guys. Thank you.
So I'll stop the recording, but if you want to stay on, you're welcome to stay on. I think it'll leave me on. I'm going to stop share here.